All right, one of the best things you can possibly do as a manager is to have book clubs with your employees. Now, what the heck is a book club? Well, think back to when you were in kindergarten, the first, second, and third grade maybe. You all sat around these little tables, about 6 of you, and you all took turns reading a particular part of that book. Remember that? Yeah, I do too. It was pretty good. And I loved being in the top reading group. I don't know about you. But that was very, very powerful for you to learn things then. It still is, even though it's been abandoned. What the heck is a book club as it pertains to business? Here's how I started this. I read about 3 hours a day. And during that process, I found a book by Dr. Tony Zeiss entitled The 12 Rules of Becoming Indispensable. And I bought that book because it intrigued me, so I bought it and I read it. And I loved what I saw, and I said, you know what? I need to show this to my employees. So I decided, look, I'm going to buy 12 copies of this book, and I'm going to pass it out. So we did that. And I had a meeting with my employees. I bought the books. We sat down. Here's how it went. I sat there, and I said, guys, this is a great book. I bought you all a copy of it, and I passed them out as they were sitting there. And I said, here's what we're going to do. And I passed out 12 highlighters, too, and 12 notebooks. I said, here's what I want you to do between now and next Wednesday. I want you to read chapter 1. It's on attitude. I want you to read that. I want you to write some notes about it, and I want you to come back in here next Wednesday. I'm buying pizza. And we're all going to sit around and talk about chapter 1, which was on attitude. So I got these looks back like deer in the headlight. Nobody said anything. Not a word. So I said, do you understand what I want? Yes, I understand what you want. I said, okay. So needless to say, they weren't really big on the idea until we actually started the process. I actually had, after that meeting, I had 2 of my top salespeople come to me and say, Dave, we're uncomfortable reading in front of other people. Now, my salespeople are very good on the phone, but they're not real big in being in front of people. So they were intimidated by that. I said, no, this is a process where we're all going to grow together. So you're going to have to do it as well. So I want you to go, write your little chapter summary, and come in here and share with what you got out of it. Just so you know, within 2 weeks of doing that, they both came to me together and said, thank you for making us do that, because we're getting so much out of this. Now, how in the world did the first meeting go? Started off really slow. Everybody was waiting to see what everybody else was going to say. So I took the lead. Talking about attitude, I decided, okay, Dave, in my lifetimes, I've had a few times where my attitude wasn't the best. So I gave them an example of that. And then before you know it, people are chiming in and saying, yeah, you know, I had a bad attitude when I worked at so-and-so because I had a bad relationship with the boss or I had a bad relationship with an employee. That's what we built on. That was the foundation. That was the beginning. That was the cracking of the ice, if you will. That was the point at which my employees knew if I was going to buy them lunch and put them in the room with me and have them tell me what they got out of that chapter. One by one by one we went. And by the time we did that, we start sharing stories about our lives. People actually sometimes would break down and start crying because there were some really, really powerful personal stories that they shared. But as a result, we started to grow together as a team. And everybody cared about everybody else. Everybody knew everybody else because of the book clubs. That was, a lot of times, that was the only interaction they had because everybody's in their different departments. So that put us together on a one-to-one basis and getting to know each other. And the benefits of book club, I cannot even begin to tell you how much that has benefited my company. That is the reason, I believe, one of the founding principles of the company that we have that has made us successful. We're in the top 1% of awards dealers, employee recognition companies, if you will, employee engagement companies in the world, the top 1%. And the number one reason, I believe, is because we implemented the book clubs so many years ago.